Oh, this is very annoying. One of the computers I picked up recently while I was visiting family, this one is. I don't remember any computer I've ever worked on having rivets in it. And this thing had probably over 20 rivets in it. And with rivets, how they put them in, you really can't get them out. You just have to drill right through them. And for this Dell computer, it's old. It's from the 2000, early 2000s. It's your typical Pentium 4 Windows XP system that was typical back then, very common. Uh, and basically, these were common as heck back when I was a kid, and they were very slow when it came to running Windows XP. Windows XP was a good OS, but the problem with this computer was they riveted it shut. It was a refurbished unit. And what's strange is they riveted it, but didn't put a hard drive in. They left the hard drive out. Not sure where the original hard drive is. I'm plugging one in now. I have to check anyways. And most people nowadays are kind of realizing that the Pentium 4 machines are actually ideal for at least the right certain kinds of Pentium 4s are ideal for Windows 98 second edition setups. I know of like the other weird OSs like Windows 2000 and ME, but ME was just horrible. ME was actually the last Windows OS that truly had any MS-DOS in it, the system, and it was really just hindered down. Uh, so I'm not sure if Dell was responsible for riveting this because I don't think originally this had rivets, and I just don't remember Dell ever doing this. Certainly not. I've worked on a lot of computers from every different company across the board. You name it, I've worked on it. And never have I ever seen a computer with rivets like this to get it open. I mean, they riveted it not only on the outside around here where I had to drill using a titanium freaking drill, but it took me 25 minutes easily. I had to pry these side doors off to get to the rivets inside of it because you cannot. So I was forced to bend the case shielding for this computer, and like the other computers I've been working on for the last week, I'm working on several of them. I've basically have to assess the condition of them, wipe the drives of the data after doing any backups if applicable, and then seeing what works and what doesn't. Do a defrag, do all of that. Check the health of the hard drives. The hard drives are pretty healthy, which is for the desktops it's pretty believable. They usually last a decent time, but Windows Vista's garbage, which this machine has. These are Core 2 Duos, which were pretty decent machines back in the late to mid 2000s. These were like fast back then. They're slow now, of course, but you got a Windows 7 up there, which Windows 7 was a good OS, at least compared to Vista. But I honestly thought XP would. A lot of these systems, though, what people don't realize is a lot of them actually, for older folks, a lot of these older machines are actually perfectly fine, provided you know how to fine tune them and defrag them and all of the little software solutions you can do to basically squish a few years of extra life out of them. Most people who just internet and web browse and do basic stuff like that, they really don't need a new machine. I would argue they probably often just need a tablet. Now, however, a word of warning to people who are older, any older viewers of mine who are not computer savvy, who think about just using their phone or thinking they can get by with a tablet. Here's the problem, and I've learned this myself out of frustration as an eBay seller and other user of other apps. A lot of these companies will have an app that is very stripped down, dumbed down compared to their desktop version of their website. And there are a lot of features that are vital for banking or selling something on eBay that you just don't have access to because the app often is down when the desktop version's up. And when you try, like at least on I don't use iPhones. I really don't like modern Apple products. But if you use an Android phone, it forces you to use the app now. It doesn't let you, to my knowledge, use the desktop website. I mean, maybe I'm just being dumb here. I just don't. I was trying to use that to log into my banking account because it refuses to tell you your account number up front, and they changed it all to where you just can't look it up, and their desktop website doesn't work either, but at least when you do get on there, you can see your account. I had to like deposit some money from work, but like really annoying, So I don't I recommend every person to have at least one desktop computer for web browsing. It doesn't have to be flashy or new, but because if you're stuck with a tablet or a phone, you might be in trouble if you need to use something important like eBay or your banking account, because it may not function or work at all, or it may be stripped down on purpose so that you can't do something. eBay is another example. They're forcing everyone to do international selling now, and if they force you, or if they voluntold you, so to speak, they quote unquote do you a favor by automatically doing something without you asking, there's a catch. There's a reason why they're doing it, and it often usually has the cost of you on the other end. I mean, and they'll pay bots and fake people to make it sound like it's a great deal, but it's not. But I'm getting a little off topic today. I've been kind of foggy-headed today with the smog and weather. I've got horrible allergies, so I apologize with my random rambling about computers. But older folks, boomers especially, get a desktop. You don't have to get anything expensive. Trust me, you just want a desktop to make sure that you're able to get to the desktop versions of these websites. You do not want to be stuck with only being able to access the app, the Android app or the Apple app for a lot of these websites. They're very stripped down. They're very poorly programmed. The people they hire to design the apps for these big websites like eBay or Reddit, they're a joke. And I've been noticing there's been a lot of more instability with websites lately, big ones too, and I suspect it might be because of cyber attacks from various countries, but no proof. I'm just saying that the internet's been very, very strange lately. I've been noticing more outages. Maybe it's just where I've been at, around here lately, down in Midwest. But Pentium 4. I mean, these are actually kind of getting valuable now, which is kind of crazy. These were junk, 10 years ago. I mean, you couldn't give these away, and now all of a sudden people want them because they realize these make great Windows 98 machines. And if you think about it, it's got all the legacy connector ports. You got a printer port, you got your serial, you got a VGA port, which those are about extinct now. Even DVI is almost, I don't even think you can get one. But you got LAN and plenty of USB, you got your audio. Dell kind of made okay computers. They were overpriced. And then you got a dial-up card, which that's about as useful at this point, like an extra tiny toe. I mean, I guess I'll just leave it there just to say it's there. I mean, it's kind of like a mole. I mean, I'm not really going to be advertising it, but whatever. Okay, well, I'm going to be testing a hard drive later, so I'm just doing some pretty routine work. This is my favorite work. It's something good to do. It doesn't take a lot of brain power, so if your brain's fried and you're tired, this is the perfect work to do for somebody who doesn't like multitasking. So if anyone has any computer questions, especially older folks, I don't mind answering questions. In my opinion, there is no stupid question, because if something's not simple enough for everyone to use, then the company failed their customers. I have taken that position. I've thought long and hard about this. If you can't make a product easy enough for everyone to use, and I mean everyone, I don't care young, old, or otherwise, you failed your customers. That's my opinion. And they've made things on purpose to be harder in the last 10, 20 years, I would argue. There's a severe problem with computers and software not being designed in a way that is common sense. They design it in a way that makes you want to give up. And that is not an accident. Incompetence like that takes effort, ladies and gentlemen. I've worked in a lot of places, and I've learned an awful lot with that. So, okay, everyone, I've almost used up my 10-minute limit. God. Have a great week, or Sunday, I guess. And we'll see what we can make out of this.